Man who's taken Celtic to within half a dozen games of a treble in his first season in charge. Peter Martin now profiles Martin O'Neill with the help of a manager who dealt with the Celtic boss as a player.
Martin had two things going for him. As a player, or he's learning his trade to be a manager. As a player, he was a good player. He didn't get in the side as early as he should. I kept him out for a long time, and he was a bit frustrated, and you can tell that now when you see him perform on the field in management. I would imagine, being brought up with me, he's not afraid to speak his mind. And you'd be amazed. I've worked with Dave Sexton, I've worked with some top England managers. They couldn't get a word out. You just used to stand there, and they just couldn't talk. And it was an ordeal to them. And they were glad it was like a 5-minute bloody lesson on a morning, and once it was over, it was, whew, that's lovely. Well, Martin doesn't have that trouble. Martin can talk.
So I think the referee is saying that's a second goal. Larsson follows through and gets a second goal.
I think the big thing is he's got every player on his side, which I think any manager would probably tell you. He's got to have the players on his side and they work for him. And you see the team, the way the team performs, you want to actually win it for him as well, because he's been great with the players. He gives you a lot of time to yourself, but at the same time he'll give you a wee bit of shouting when things don't go as well. But he's got everybody's respect, which is a major thing for him.
Yeah, Peter Martin's profile of Martin O'Neill. Great to hear from Cloughie there, Andy, but he used to keep him out of that Nottingham Forest team, didn't he?
Fantastic value, old Cloughie, isn't he? He just speaks so much sense, and I love listening to him. He's terrific.
What do you think are the main qualities that O'Neill has brought to Celtic this season? Well,
he's brought a lot of discipline to the team. Everyone gives him 90 minutes of sheer hard graft, and I think he demands that even in training. And if you don't do it, then you don't play, and it's as simple as that. Everyone knows their job, and there's a very solid look about Celtic now, and that can only be down to the manager.
And Mark, he seems to command the respect of the players.
Absolutely, and that's it, the respect. I mean, he transmits a confidence to his players, and it's so evident when you watch the team play. You know, the enthusiasm, the vibrance in the team. It's all, you know, it's Martin O'Neill. You look at the team that they're so energetic and wanting to work for each other. It's done a remarkable job in such a short time, I think.
Well, let's have a look at the players who Martin O'Neill has selected to wear the Celtic jerseys this afternoon. Jonathan Gould plays, of course, because Robert Douglas is cup-tied. The same applies to Didier Agathe, who is clearly not available. McNamara and Thompson both suspended. And a place there, Andy, for Colin Healy.
Yeah, it's a big game for him. He hasn't played for some time now, and I think he'll take up that right wing-back role. Celtic are having problems there with the injuries and suspensions. But a big boost for them is that they've got Bobby Petta back and Chris Sutton to partnership Henrik Larsson, so that's a big boost for them.
Yeah, with Sutton up front with Larsson, Mark, where do you think Moravcik's going to be there?
I think he'll just play middle to rightish, I think, possibly just drifting in there. He does well when the game's going. He drifts into all sorts of positions. I mean, he's a joy to watch, and I think with him inside, forwards love players like that. See the pass. It's similar with the Durant situation. Plays the pass, and forwards love them sort of players.
And Andy, club captain Tom Boyd can't get a game in this team at the moment, even with suspensions, injuries, cup ties.
Yeah, that's the thing about cup finals. You're always going to get players that are disappointed, and as well as him, you've also got Tommy Johnson, who's come in, scored a great goal during the week. And I think he'll be a bit aggrieved at not getting a starting place, but I think that's Celtic's strongest lineup with the players they have available.
I'll tell you a player who's won a watch. Dimitri Karin is going to pick up a medal today.
I say football's an unfair game, isn't it? But he's there, goalkeeping, coming in, and you know, there to pick up a medal. But it's just that's the look of the draw.
Andy, is that Celtic team strong enough to win this match?
I think it is. Defensively, they've been so strong all season. They've still got the real spine there of Mjällby, Vega, Valharan. They really don't give much away. Physically, they're so overpowering in terms of coming up against Dargo and Kokard, but what they offer you is something a wee bit different. They're both very clever on the ball, they're both very sharp, and that's something they'll have to deal with. But I think Celtic will be just too strong for Kilmarnock today.
Well, we've seen the two managers this afternoon profiled already, and just a couple of minutes ago, Bobby Williamson and Martin O'Neill spoke to our man Peter Martin.
Well, Martin and Bobby, the hype is almost over surrounding this cup final. Obviously, it's all about events on the field now, Martin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm sure Bobby is as well. We've got Wednesday night out of the way. It's a wee bit costly for ourselves, but even so, it should be a really good game today.
I'm sure as the final approaches now, every Celtic fan will want to know the team news. Have Chris Sutton and Bobby Petta made it?
Yeah, Sutton and Petta are both in anyway, and we'll take it on from there. You know, it doesn't really matter about match fitness now. They wanted to play in the final. Obviously, they don't come around too often, so an opportunity for them. Let's give it a go.
I notice all the players are wearing some lucky heather. What about yourself?
No, I've gone superstitiously the other way. Steve Walford and myself are full of superstition, honestly. So I wonder if we get up in the morning, to be perfectly honest. But it was to do with the fact that we wore it one other occasion and lost a game, so that was all. You know.
Bobby, obviously your team goes into this match with all the favourites and the bookies, especially fancying Celtic. Has that worked in your favour, trying to motivate the players?
No, the cup finals motivate them anyway. They're professional players. They want to play against the best players and the best teams in the league. And Celtic are up there and they've got the best players, so hopefully we can give a good account of ourselves.
I mentioned two key players for Celtic, but two key players for Kilmarnock. Obviously, Ali McCoist and Ian Durrant. What can you tell me about your team selection?
Well, Durrant will start the game and McCoist will sit on the bench, and hopefully things are a bit tight with 5 to go. We'll throw one and see what happens.
A lot of people are looking at the game and they fancy Celtic, but what have you said to the players, obviously in a final? You don't want them to get over odds.
No, I'm sure they won't. You know, I'm just hoping to give a good account of themselves and do themselves justice. Go out and give Celtic a game and hopefully go that step further and actually beat them.
No superstitions here, you've got the lucky heather on.
Is that what that's for? Luck? I just looked the part.
Bobby and Martin, thanks for your time. Thank you.
Bobby and Martin with Peter just a few minutes ago before we actually gave you the team news. That's why Peter was asking those questions. Mark Haitley, we know the teams. Yep. What can Kilmarnock do to beat this Celtic side?
Well, can go out there and enjoy it. I was just saying.
You have to do more than that.
No,
surely.
you go out and enjoy a cup final. I mean, the last time it was 39 years ago there was in this cup final. The fans, players alike, go out, enjoy the game, take part in the game. If everybody takes part, they have a chance. Cup finals are one-off games. I mean, form is out. Everybody's got a chance. The underdog has a chance. If they go out and enjoy it and do themselves proud, then they'll have a chance.
He thinks they'll have a chance, you don't.
No, I don't, but I do think they'll have to compete. I think in midfield they've got Gary Holt in there who's got the strength and determination to compete with Celtic, and I think it is a boost to have Ian Durrant, but he's got that craft that can create a passing movement and he can thread it through the eye of a needle. So I think they do have a chance, but they have to compete and they have to start well and they have to compete in a physical sense with Celtic, because too often Celtic run over the top of teams. And I think Kilmarnock will be very determined today. And
Mark, we mentioned earlier in the programme that the stick that Kilmarnock have been taking when they're playing at home at Rugby Park, and yet a few weeks ago we saw them come here to Hampden, admittedly St Mirren, but put up a great performance.
Absolutely. I think everybody's got to put everything in perspective and look at the whole picture here. What Bobby's doing, cup finals, playing in Europe, 4th in the league, under, you know, with no cash hardly at all to spend. The club has come on leaps and bounds in such a short time, and I think, you know, everybody should appreciate what Bobby's actually done for the club.
Yeah. There'll be about 12,000 Kilmarnock fans here, Andy. They have to make themselves heard for the players' sake. Yes, they didn't sell all of their allocation, so it gives the Celtic fans even more chance to make noise, but I think the Killie players will enjoy it, Mark, but I think they'll enjoy it even more if they perform to the peak of their ability and give themselves every chance of winning the thing. Is it hugely important, Mark, that if Kilmarnock are going to win this match today, that they score first? Because you would think if Celtic get their noses in front, stopping them. No, if they can keep it at 0-0 for a long period, get through the first 20 minutes, then they will grow in confidence. I mean, Craig Dargo up front, bags of ability, lots and lots of pace. With players in the side such as him, you know, with the pace up front, you have a chance. If they can keep it at 0-0 for a long period, then their confidence will gain. OK, guys, we'll hear more from you at half-time. It's getting very close to kick-off. And a chance today for you to win one of the pairs of tickets to an SPL home game, including hospitality, featuring the team of today's CIS Man of the Match winner. Our co-commentator Billy Stark will be choosing the Man of the Match, and if your nominations agree with his and you're picked at random, a pair of tickets will be yours. There are two ways of registering your vote in this high-tech age. Once you've decided your Man of the Match, you can either call this number 09009 11 55 00. That's 09009 11 55 00. Tell us the player and leave your name, address and phone number. Lines will close at the end of the match, including extra time if necessary. Or you can nominate on our website at scotsport.co.uk. And again, you can vote up until the end of open play. We'll have one winner from the phone-in and one from the website. And after today's game, you'll be able to join in our website chat room with commentator Archie McPherson. Again, you can do that by logging on to the Scotsport website. Also in the commentary box this afternoon is Billy Stark, and we can join him and Archie now. Good afternoon again to Archie.
Very good afternoon to you. Well, you know, I sense something from the vast majority of the supporters here, of course, are the Celtic supporters. This is not just a cup final. This could be the start of something very big indeed. And if you delve back into the history, it was Jockstein, of course, who got his first award here in the stadium at this stage of a League Cup. Now, just wondering, Billy Stark, beside me, if expectation of a treble sometimes puts a little bit more burden on a team like Celtic and indeed Rangers when they were going for it.
Very much so, but I'm sure it's pressure that they would rather have if you compare it to last season, actually, where, you know, they had such a dismal season. And
rather that than nothing, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the type of pressure that players want, appearing in cup finals. And, of course, with the Old Firm, there's always pressure on to win cup finals. Well,
as usual, there's a marvellous atmosphere inside Hampden Park. A lot of people, given the comparison, the stark comparison with Ibrox and Celtic Park nowadays, bigger stadiums and different in style, feel that there wasn't the same atmosphere in here. But all you need to do is get enthusiastic supporters inside here and they do the job for you. Billy, it's building up.
It is indeed, yeah. I mean, obviously a cup final is a showpiece at any stage of the season, and I think Kilmarnock and Celtic both deserve to be in the final. They've not had an easy route to the final by any manner of means.
I think I mentioned earlier on my concern about the pitches and the difficulty of a cutting up pitch, playing the passing game of football, the fluency that's essential to make it attractive. Now, this looks fine at the moment. I just hope it doesn't cut up too badly.
Yeah, well, at that stage of the season where there's no growth yet, and we have the remnants of the games that have gone on this season, so I don't think it should interfere too much. I'm expecting an open game from both sides.
Now, as per usual, we've had the intriguing predictions about who would play and where they would play. Well, we've got the Kilmarnock side at the moment, and Bobby, who rather favours the orthodox four at the back, has decided to take a little bit of a gamble, Billy.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, I think he's very much a 4-4-2 man, Bobby, and I know in the last couple of weeks he has tried the three at the back formation, and I think with the personnel that he has today, I'm pretty sure that that's the way he's going to go, and he's going to, as Andy said in the studio, he's going to match up with the Celtic formation.
And indeed, there's a lot of experience in that team, of course. Four of them played in a cup final, the Scottish Cup final, and then you've got Ian Durrant playing in his fifth League Cup final, so, you know, they're not minus experience in that sense.
Not at all. I mean, Durrant obviously has the experience, but he gives them creativity in the middle of the pitch as well, and they've been struggling to score in recent times, and he's the one that can maybe unlock the defence.
Now, Celtic have had the problems, but just have a look at the team they're able to put out, which does show you maybe Martin O'Neill feels he still needs depth to the squad, but that's still a pretty strong team.
It's not far off the team that has been performing this season. I mean, the likes of Moravcik, who obviously has featured quite prominently this season in terms of substitute appearances. So, you know, I don't think it looks a weak Celtic team by any manner. I mean, he's obviously young Healy coming in, I think, to run the right-hand side in place of Agat, and Bobby Petta, having been out with injury. It's question marks over their fitness. I know that Martin O'Neill and Chris Sutton obviously comes into that category as well. Martin O'Neill has said that the adrenaline in a cup final should see them through, but obviously it's going to be difficult in terms of fitness.
Well, look who's beside Healy. I mean, Lambert and Lennon, they've got massive experience. They're stabilising influences even at the best of times for Celtic. So, I mean, he's not without support there, the youngster.
Well, I mean, I think Celtic has been based on strong defensive solidity this year, and they've still got that back three being placed at Sutton so well, and as you say, Lennon and Lambert in the middle of the pitch. So I don't think they'll stray too far much from the normal formation.
And there's Hugh Dallas leading the two teams out here. Jonathan Gould getting his opportunity again, of course. We'll look down that list, and Dimitri Karin was his substitute goalkeeper. I think that was mentioned in the studio. A very colourful setting indeed. And by the way, we've been handed the official description, which is rather like the catwalk description for both jerseys today. Killie, we are told, is navy blue edged with burgundy trim, and Celtic, wait for it, gold with petrol green trim. Petrol green, that's a new one to me. Sounds environmentally friendly, that, but I think Celtic are not going to be as benign as that.
Well, I think it's unusual for both teams in the cup final to wear their away strip, and probably unusual, particularly to see Celtic not in their familiar hoops and Kilmarnock in their blue and white stripes, but that's the way it's turned out. I don't think that'll affect the players at all. I think they'll just be desperate to get the match underway and show what they can do.
I've also noticed one or two banners around the ground wishing Stilian Petrov well, and I think the Celtic players might get a little bit of motivation out of that as well.
I think so. I mean, they were commenting during the week that the dressing room is a quiet place after the good win at St Johnstone, but you know, they'll have bounced back from that now, and having seen Stilian Petrov in the days leading up to the final, I'm sure they'll want to go and win it for him.
Well, I watched Kilmarnock 3 times over the last 3 weeks, and they played some very good possession football. The trouble is they seem to have lost the whole object of the exercise. That's putting the ball in the back of the net. Of the last 5 games, they've failed to score 4 times.
Well, having seen a bit of Celtic this season, I think that teams have tended to do that.
And there's Hugh Dallas, the referee for today. I think by common consent, the best referee in the country, although controversy follows him very much. He got out of Italy with the Milan fans barely giving him time to say arrivederci because of the controversial decisions he made, but he is courageous, that's for sure. He sticks to his guns. And listen to that cheer going up from both sets of supporters. Vast majority, of course, supporting the Celtic team here. And then Ian Durrant, bags of experience, of course. He had that tragic injury, but he's recovered. And there's Chris Sutton, he had the shoulder injury. And I wonder how much of a risk a shoulder coming back after a shoulder injury is, given it can go any time.
Very much so. It is an injury that you know, he'll feel that he can run freely, but at any time in the game, that's the type of injury that can come back to haunt him. Well,
not only current form, but historical pedigree would favour Celtic in the 24th final appearance. And welcome to the cup final, Bobby Petta. A little bit of exuberance there. We'll change that description as the game goes on, but it's more charitable at the start. 24th final appearance for Celtic. Killie were last at this stage 39 years ago. Well, that's when Hampden was a grand canyon of football. But I don't think this new modernised setting will take the edge off Kilmarnock, who I'm quite sure Billy would be delighted to prove the forecast all wrong.
Very much so, and if that's the type of thing that you can work in your favour.
And there he goes down again. Now remember, he's come back, straight back from injury after 3 weeks. And following through there, rather recklessly. Well, I'm quite sure that they realised the danger would come from Bobby Petta on this wide left position. And this is where Celtic can be so dangerous. So many excellent jumpers for the ball in the air. Corner kick.
I think that's an indication of how productive a season Bobby Petta's had, where Gus McPherson in the first seconds of the game has given him a clatter, and he's received another foul there, and I think, as I say, that shows how important he is to Celtic.
Right across there, Moravchik trying the near post one. That'll be another corner kick. Immediately Celtic putting the screw on his side. Gus McPherson, over 300 appearances for his club. Started off with Rangers, went down on loan to Exeter, and he's at the near post again. That's a free kick. Jus Verheren coming up there, Belgian international. There's another shoulder injury there. Now watch the clash there.
Yeah, it's Christophe Coquard, and you know that Celtic are so potent from a set-piece situation that Kilmarnock have everybody back there, and he's been brave to go and deal with that front post ball. Yusuf Haran, I think, was trying just to get in front of him to get the wee flick that would bring the big players into play.
I think he as an asset will be better up front with his pace. There's the challenge there. A little bit of nerves here, Durant. Dargo going in for that. Remember the goal he scored in the semi-final, Billy?
Yeah, tremendous goal, actually.
Coquard, knockwood ball, swept away. That was Vega getting up. Holt. So a little bit of experience with Celtic as a younger player, and that should be for Jonathan Gould. I think in the rivalry between goalkeepers, he'll be wanting to prove his worth as well.
Very much so. I mean, I think he feels hard done by when Robert Douglas was brought to the club. I think he felt he did a good solid start to the season, but it's an opportunity for him today to perform on the big stage and stake a claim once again.
Here's Petta, well, leaving it there to Larsson. Coquard almost got away with that. Celtic kept possession until picked up there by Dargo. You might have watched that goal he scored, Dargo picking the ball up in his own half and going right through the St Mirren defence with a superb strike. You've got to watch his pace, Celtic. Well, he was a bit doubtful for the game. He said flu recently. Vega. Well, the referee sees that again. Free kick. Well, the challenges are hard, to say the least. 44 goals he's had this season. He's after another one. Gilly tried to go in there. Just stroked away. That long one, trying to get it forward. Now Petta. Henrik. He's been an excellent buy for Celtic. Very reliable, straightforward player. Solid in the tackle, very good in the air. And watching this game, the way that Lennon seems to sense the important little positions on the field.
He does, he senses danger when it appears for Celtic.
That's a good run forward, Healy. An enticing ball there, and you could see how dangerous Larsson was as he came forward, but that, I think, is a kind of clutch that will give a goalkeeper confidence.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what any goalkeeper in a cup final would ask for, is a chance to come and take a cross confidently, as Gordon Marshall did there. I think it's interesting, we spoke about Kilmarnock matching up with Celtic, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to play Christophe Coquard in an area that will break up Celtic's back three. Craig Dargo up there on his own, and as I say, Coquard trying to find wee spaces that he can get on the ball.
But Henrik Larsson very close to the line. Moravcik. You'll be making up a lot of ground there. Kilmarnock simply backtracking, getting players behind the ball. Well, he scored vital goals. Moravcik, of course. Quickly brushed away. He did that very well, calling on all his experience. Still can't clear the ball effectively. And I'm glad to put it almost anywhere. Oh, by Vega. They're spreading out well, Kilmarnock. That's a decent ball forward. Coquard, Vega with him. Forced to put it back to Gus McPherson. Clear on, Coquard going in here. Can it be put back? That's a lovely move by Kilmarnock. Try to slip it back inside to Kokar, who started that. I think the referee's whistle couldn't be heard by some of the players. The play is going to be pulled all the way back, almost to the halfway line.
That's a
Freddie Dindeloo, I think they're going to have a word with him.
Yeah, that's the problem that teams have. Larsson's so mobile, he gets about the whole width of the pitch. And once he gets into a wide area, he's very positive and looks to run players.
There's a booking. Freddie Dindeloo, the Frenchman. There's Healy. Well, he won't have any Hampden nerves now. He's seen a lot of the ball in this opening 8 minutes. Bambi will be. Well, Heron will pick these up very easily. Kokar again. All played far too quickly there by Alan Mahood. There's got to be a little more composure than that. Well, Gould got it away, but it's loose in midfield, and that was a flying elbow, I think, catching Ian Durrant.
I think Kilmarnock will be encouraged with the start they've had in the game. They've had a fair bit of the ball. And they had a lovely flowing move there, which just broke down on the edge of the penalty box, but certainly playing with confidence.
It's touched inside, and Mjolby comes across. Well, they are confident, there's no doubt about that. And Gary Hay coming up very fast on the left-hand side there. Johan Mjolby has been going through a season with injections, pain-killing injections, which may be required on the other side by Hay there after that clatter. Bit of wrestling going on the touchline.
That's the other thing that Ian Durrant brings back to the team is a set-piece delivery, of course, from which Celtic are so potent, but Durrant's very capable of putting a killer ball in there for his front players to attack.
Well, they're preparing carefully for it. And it goes and just touched away by Vega. Well, no inhibitions about the way Kilmarnock are playing in this game, and I think Bobby Petta is finished. I think the groin has gone. And there's nobody in the middle there for Kilmarnock. Wasted ball as Petta lies in agony. Exactly 10 minutes gone, and we have the most serious incident of the game so far. And judging by the body language down there, I doubt very much if Petta is going to have any more to do with this game. However, he has one of the best physios in the business there, and Brian Scott, who's working feverishly on him. There's McGowan. Yes, it looks to me as if Craney's going to come on. Gould taking it first time. Well, they didn't want that. I think you said to me, in fact, you did say to me before the game that, you know, people coming straight back in to a game like this in a cup final with niggling injuries might be a bit of a risk for Celtic.
Yeah, well, I mean, we spoke about it being a gamble, and Martin O'Neill obviously felt that it was worth a gamble. The player will always push to play. But unfortunately, it's one that's failed to come off for Celtic. He saw a bit of the ball early on and took a couple of hefty challenges, Bobby Petta. But in that occasion there, it was really just a case of, you know, he overstretched, and that groin that's been troublesome has gone again. But what an opportunity for young Stephen Craney to come on so early in a cup final.
Well, Craney has a marvellous left foot. Remember, he came on as a substitute at Celtic Park once. When we were doing the commentary, and within 30 seconds he took a free kick from about 35 yards. Almost took the crossbar away, and a free kick to Kilmarnock. Played down the right-hand side to McPherson, and I think the referee will have that retaken as Celtic are about to make the substitution. On comes Stephen Craney. Again, he's one of the youngsters who hasn't had all that much first-team experience, but on the other hand, he played with maturity. Remember the League Cup game against Hearts, he was quite outstanding with the other Celtic youngsters. Moravcik. I think Celtic will want a little more of that done at the other end. I'm a great admirer of Moravcik. I fancy him as a kind of old-fashioned inside forward, if you like.
He's a wonderful player, so two-footed and capable of really unlocking any defence, and he'll have a big role to play today.
Mahu. Play a little bit static in midfield. Holt. Oka. There's McPherson. I think all he wanted to do was get rid of the attention of Craney. Now, the thing I mentioned at the start is I watched Kilmarnock. I'm sure this man's had them watched very carefully as well. They played a lot of the kind of football we've been watching there in the last 30 or 40 seconds, and still not able to penetrate a defence.
Well, they are very neat and tidy in possession, but of course you need to have the cutting edge, and that's the wee thing that's been missing. Dargo, I think, as I say, is going to be important to give them the legs up front, and of course Coquard and Durant are fine footballers.
Well, Kieran should get back to this. Well, Gould, no margin for error there. No, just a little bit too neat and precise by Celtic in midfield at the moment. Durant. The players got a little bit untidy. I think Celtic are probably unsettled by that injury. I don't think there's any doubt about it. However well they've been playing, they realised how important Petta was going to be in that left side.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, I think the wide players in Celtic's formation are so important. And here we are in the cup final, you know, 10-15 minutes into it, and they find themselves with Colin Healy and young Stephen Craney as their two wing backs, and the onus that puts on them. But you know, Petta and Agat have done that job wonderfully well for them this season. But those two young players are now going to get the opportunity to show what they're made of.
Vega taking absolutely no chances with that. Well, Ramon Vega signed to the delight, I must say, of the Spurs supporters who didn't really fancy him all, but he scored important goals, 4 in all. He's good in the air. Bit of spirit and determination about Celtic there. Ball just in play. Oh, the referee waves play on Vega coming in from the back, but I think Dargo made much of that.
I think the encouraging thing is that Kilmarnock are getting players into the penalty box. On that occasion, Hay is the opposite wide midfield player, and Alan Mahood getting into the penalty box as well. So when they do get it in wide areas, they're going to commit bodies in there, and that's the way you'll create chances and score.
He tries to put it down. I think it's gone over on the far side. Well, after that very bright opening, Celtic support rather quieter at the moment. Lambert. There's Dargo. That's a great tackle. Well, I thought he took the ball.
I thought it was a good tackle, I must admit. It's a type of thing that Lennon does so well, tracking back there. And
there's a chance now. Ball swept in, and I think just to my right-hand side, and that expression by Coca will reveal it, the flag was up.
I think they caught us out there, Kilmarnock. We were looking at Neil Lennon's tackle, and it's the second time in the game so far that they've tried to play a quick free kick and try to catch Celtic.
He puts his flag up though, right away. All the way through, Larsson after it. It requires this man just a few seconds of release from an opponent, and it can kill them off. There's Lennon. Finn. Picked up by Volkeren, he's striding forward. Tried to play a little 1-2, and I think a free kick. This could be heaven sent for Lubo Moravcik. Well, I think Larsson himself might almost favour a go here in this position, but given as Volkeren went through there.
It was a great drive and run from Volkeren, which shows you that Celtic are going to commit players forward as well, and you know, he went to try and get the return pass from Larsson there, and was blocked out of it.
Well, both of the two men I was speaking about have that 30-plus yards. Both of them can score splendidly from this situation. Moravcik's after it! Agonizing for a goalkeeper because Moravcik can put it expertly on both sides.
Yeah, I think it was just in too wide a position there to really trouble Gordon Marshall. He's gone for the near post, and Gordon Marshall's got his positioning just right and dealt with it competently.
Yolby. A lot of height in that. Sutton tried to lay the ball off. He was complaining to the referee there. Durant. And again. Kilmarnock have been spraying the ball about well. Nobody in the middle for them with that kind of height, though. Well, they don't even have Paul Wright on the bench.
Yeah, that was a wee surprise. Bobby was talking during the week about maybe having to leave out a bigger name player, and Paul Wright's the one that suffered and is not even stripped today.
There's certainly no feeling of Kilmarnock being overawed by the occasion or the predictions as to how this game would go. Hugh Dallas awarding the free kick again to Kilmarnock.
The effect on that injury to Petta is twofold. Obviously, Celtic have to reorganise a wee bit and just try and play their way back into the game. But Kilmarnock, I think, will get a lift from that as well, knowing that a key player suffered an injury so early in the game.
Right over here to Innes. Well, it's dabbing it in, but very predictably. Lambert tries to lay it off. Sutton. Larsson finding himself in the right wing this time. Well, that's a tempting ball. I think coming in at the back, Stephen Craney was adjudged to have, well, he didn't touch anybody. Certainly the flag went up and the referee pointed, and Kilmarnock are getting a free kick.
I think it's a contact with Chris Sutton, and I must say I thought it really was the other way. I think it was young Innes just stood his ground and took the challenge, and it's gone against Celtic.
Well, there's the man of the match competition. Billy will be appointing the man of the match. 09009 11 11 55 00 09009 115500. Man of the match will be awarded by Billy. Almost laid it to the side. Good covering by Yolby. Yolby, who can play anywhere in central defence. Dargo looks like a wee boy there amongst the Celtic defenders. Very powerful indeed. Sutton trying to hold on to it. It is Dargo. We did well, Dargo, and he can't get away from Vega though. Kolka really going at Celtic Kilmarnock. Maybe Koka took a step too far there when he went down the touchline. Well, Larsson was back at his own half that time. Slight play by Durant, though. But that's a hard one. They've got to be very careful. They've already had bookings. Ennis going in very hard there. Dindalu's already been booked. Free kick to Celtic. Just about halfway through this first half. Well, much too obvious by Milby. Gordon Marshall's father won League Cup medals with Hearts way back, as I said, almost 40 years ago.
I think looking at young Dargo, he is very slight, and it's part of the problem that Kilmarnock have. Even though they do commit bodies into the penalty box, Celtic are so big and strong in there that the only one with any kind of physical presence arriving there will be Gary Holt. So they really have to try and get good movement. And Dargo's the type that can do that, maybe getting across the front post and getting in front of defenders. And that's what he has to concentrate and do. But I have to say that sometimes players are particularly suited to playing on the Hampden pitch, and young Dargo looks as if that's the case with him. I remember Joe Miller, an old colleague of mine, who always seemed to thrive in the Hampden occasion.
Well, that was placed all the way down, and I think Larsson might be injured, as Bobby Wilson wants a little bit of movement in midfield. Well, Larsson is limping slightly. I think he's going to be all right. Dargo again doing just a little bit more mobile. Well, Ennis, as I said, has to be careful. Now Larsson is going to the sidelines. You could say that was a half Nelson on him, I think.
Well, he's had one or two fouls against him since the start of the game, but in that situation there really is no excuse for it. In that formation, you find inevitably that one of your centre-backs will be in a wide position, as he was there, and you're really not looking for him to be too clever.
And meanwhile, Henrik Larsson is getting attention to that knee. He's beginning to trot back now. I don't think he was too happy with that. He might be slightly pained. Well, no challenge there from Celtic, which is unusual.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the difficult time he had last year with a bad injury, Henrik Larsson, but he's so resilient, and for a striker he plays a remarkable number of games and misses very few with injury.
We're done there by Hay. Not all that much fluency as witness that pass there. Here's Koka. That's a bad ball by Koka. He's got to come back and retrieve it. Played again out to Craney, the substitute. Larsson with that typical dummy and Pierce and Moratic. You could tell right away he was going to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, it was a good situation for Livo Moravcik. We've seen him score from that type of position so often. This time he gets a decent strike on it, and it bobbles just in front of Gordon Marshall, but he takes it quite comfortably.
Well, the ball being given away liberally by both sides. Here's Milby. Well, two men in that holding position there. Can't get any forward movement at the moment. Vega's feeling like one of his wanders upfield. There's only one winner there, and that was going to be Lennon. With Durant playing tidily in midfield. Once again, Koka shot with a pass. Getting Mahood into trouble there, having to retrieve that. Vega. They're closing down Celtic, and Moravchik looked quickly at the referee there. No response. There goes Holt. Good tackle again by Lennon. Nobody closes down an opponent quicker than Neil Lennon. Celtic moving forward very cannily. Well, that's a good turn, and that's offside. The first time they've opened up that Kilmarnock defence. Sutton doing what he's been doing all season, guarding, shielding, and then laying off.
Yeah, it was a very tight decision, and it's a great part of Chris Sutton's game there. He just dragged the ball in, got turned on it, and immediately saw the run from Henrik Larsson, stuck it through, and the linesman saw it as offside. But as I say, a very, very tight decision.
Yeah, he'd be disappointed in that. I think he rather gave up in his effort. I mean, it was a half-hearted one at the end there. Else he would have put it in the back of the net. Not sure that that's at all profitable for Kilmarnock, playing that very high ball into that Celtic defence.
No, it's unlikely. I mean, as I say, they are neat and tidy in possession, and you know, they have players like Mahood and Durant in the middle of the pitch there. They don't have big strikers either, so it really isn't productive for them to play that way.
Marshall making it a little bit difficult. Actually played to Mahood. Hey, coming in. Mahood. Oh dear, they have this tendency to go round in circles, Kilmarnock, at times. Their midfield play looks very inventive when Mahood goes across the field. There he is again, that's a better ball. Dargo trying to go in, he's still there. Kilmarnock players flooding into the box, poor ball across there. Cleared eventually by Lennon. And he calms the storm down, as he usually does. There's no free kick. Holt coming forward. Little ball played through. Well, Hay missing out in that. You can see that Kilmarnock, from the moves they're making, really lack a target man or a real out-and-out striker.
Yeah, that's obviously been their problem, but I must say they're working very, very hard. They've changed their formation today, obviously, and they've come to terms with that very quickly, and Celtic are not getting a minute to settle on the ball. Moravchik getting into that midfield area with Lennon and Lambert is not quite working at the moment. Mahood and Durant are getting a bit of time in the ball and able to lift their head and play forward passes.
Moravchik. Enticing players to come towards him. Well, Celtic have been running up the goals, but I've seen them playing in games, Billy, where, you know, it hasn't been all that inspiring for them, and then suddenly, with the quality that they've got as individuals, they can pull goals out of nothing.
Very much so.
Dindaloo didn't like that ball coming towards him, and the Celtic supporters rise to that. A little bit of encouragement for them as they win that corner kick off the Frenchman.
I think you were probably referring to Henrik Larsson as much as Andy there.
Or Moravchik.
Yeah, well, Moravchik as well. But
recently against Motherwell when Celtic were toiling.
Yeah, and Larsson the other night against St Johnstone.
Sutton did get to that. Well, that's a better tackle on him all the same. Kokar came back very well. It's a bit about getting players forward, though, and the final ball from Kokar has been rather poor. He's not been very kindly in his expressions there, Bob. I understand the frustration.
Yeah, you can. They worked himself into a reasonable situation there and were wasteful with the final ball. And you know, there's signs that they certainly can hurt Celtic if that final pass can be, you know, done properly.
A very studious demeanour there of Lennon when he's on the ball, just playing it carefully. Moravchik. A beautiful play by Moravcik. Can he get it across? He can! And just shuffled away. Well, that's exactly what I was talking about. He's hardly been in the game. A little double shuffle, and he almost gets through. Yeah, it was super play by Moravcik. He just sold a wee dummy and got through between the two Kilmarnock players. Bobby, I'm not too enamoured by their defensive display there, but right to the byline, and unfortunately with the cutback. There's the corner, and Marshall with Vega at his back. Very clean clutch there by the keeper. Well, simply nobody downfield there. Holt had come forward, offering really no threat to that defence. Well, Dindaloo came right across him there. Now, he has to be very, very careful. Under any other circumstances, I think a referee might have produced the yellow card for this, although in that slow motion replay, not maybe as bad as it first appeared. Yeah, I agree. I think when you see it in slow motion, obviously the referee doesn't have that benefit. Henrik Larsson went to ground just a wee bit easily there. It's fair enough. I mean, it's a forward in a threatening position, and he's committed the defender to making a challenge, and he's gone down. Well, this will be swept in. A really vicious in swinger, and Marshall leaving the ball behind him. Well, he gave that defence the collywobbles, and I think his manager cardiac arrest. He seemed to have it. Swept across. Well, that's a better save. But all credit on the far side to Healy with his determination to get that ball over. Yeah, it was great determination from young Colin Healy. That's a big part of his game, and it was a decent cross. Celtic just couldn't get in there across the front post, and Gordon Marshall, I have to say, has had a terrific start to the game, although he dropped that last one. I think it's very important that the defenders and the Celtic front players know that they've got a goalkeeper that's going to be coming and put himself among them today to try and take the ball. Oh, very slag play by Vega, who very cunningly looks round at the turf behind him, as if the grass had been a handicap to him. We've all used that one before, Archie. There's McPherson. That's a great clearance there. That in towards Dargo, and that's a corner kick from the big Swiss international, who's looking slightly awkward. Paul says that beaming smile about him, radiating optimism. I think that's why Bobby Williamson would have been very keen to get Craig Dargo on his line-up today against the Celtic back ones. Vega particularly is a very big, strong man, but mobility is not his strong point, and Dargo's really trying to get round about him. Trying the shorter one this time. It is down there, and the goalkeeper does well. Just about to say, Bobby, I'm never quite sure what the benefit of a short corner kick is when they just simply play it down. There's Larsson going in. That was a great tackle. And I think Henrik Larsson tried to make something out of that, but it was a great tackle. Watch the ball, into the ball there. And the referee, good decision. Well, I think it was a perfect decision. What a great tackle by young Hay. I mean, a young man like that playing, I think, his first cup final. And he knew there was no margin for error there, but he's executed the tackle brilliantly. And there's Kilmarnock's tendency to keep going round and across the field, as personified by Mahood there. Looks to me as if Ian Durrant may be in trouble. Physically, I mean, I think he's limping towards the touchline, and he may have said goodbye to this final. We shall see. Yeah, very, very similar to Bobby Petta. He was really playing a cross-field pass there, and he pulled up in pain right away. I don't think he's going to be able to take part again. No, he's not. I think Bobby Williamson is calling for the substitute. Here's Kokar. Well, at least it's a shot at goal, which have been few and far between in the game. This man has pace, came from French football. Someone's playing for Auxerre. And he went there to Strasbourg. There's the man of the match. Telephone number for you to phone: 09009 115500. And the website, you can talk to us after the game at scotsport.co.uk. Scotsport.co.uk. Yes, a substitution just about to take place. Mark Riley is going to come on, and meanwhile Dargo gets a booking. Here's Mark Riley. Solid player, Mark Riley.
Interesting change that. I mean, he's got one or two options, Andy McLaren as well, but I think Bobby Williamson will be very pleased with the way his three midfield players have been in this game, and I think that's why Riley's got the nod.
Touched across there. Well, Tommy Burns will know all about him. He played down at Reading with Tommy Burns, Mark Riley. Belso boy came originally from Motherwell.
He epitomises the Kilmarnock spirit, Mark Riley. He's a little terrier in the middle of the pitch there, and you know, the midfield trio of Celtic, Lambert, Lennon and Moravcik will need to be on their toes, because he'll be writing about them.
Sutton, Moravcik, Andy Craney, Lennon. Giving Nyobe acres of space to work in. Lambert tried a little bit of penetration that time, it didn't come off. Mahood. Down the line it goes, and I think that'll be Kilmarnock's ball. Well, I'll tell you what, on that far side, Colin Healy's playing with great relish. He seems to be enjoying this.
Well, he's the type of player in the situation that he found himself coming into the team after not having played for a long time. He really applies himself very well, and he's got to the pace of the game reasonably quickly.
Not a single Kilmarnock player in that half. Of course, Dargo with his yellow card, of course. Yes, the whistle will go for that. Challenge by Holt. Free kick. I'm glad to say the pitch hasn't cut up all that badly. Not entirely immaculate, but certainly the ball can be moved around. Larsson, great play. That's a free kick again. Intelligent play by Larsson at the root of that probe. And there's a player who was talking about playing with relish. Really going down there. This could again be interesting. Very hard tumble there by Healy.
Actually, McGowan made contact with the ball. I think it's maybe one of those situations that the referees maybe just read it a wee bit early.
Third yellow card. This is the boy who's come on as a sub. The great left foot of his. Well, it was close to that near post there. As I said about him, I once saw him taking a crossbar away. He was only on for 30 seconds. He can really hit them hard.
Yeah, I think one or two people in the stadium thought for a moment that had gone in the net there, but they certainly had Gordon Marshall scrambling, and that's one of Craney's specialities as well, is that he can, you know, put good balls in target from free kicks.
Well, they're the yellow cards so far. We pointed out already 3 for Kilmarnock. Well, there a few words exchanged, and I think the referee heard that. Something spoken by Lennon, and he'll get a warning for that. There's only one referee, or words to that effect. Nice his body language out, I mean, I don't think it leaves anybody in any doubt what he means.
No, Hugh Dallas does come down very hard on players who give him some verbal, and he was quick to come down on Neil Lennon there.
Celtic supporters don't like that, neither does the manager there. A very explosive gentleman. When we see him in press conferences, extremely tranquil and lucid. But like any manager, he can blow his top. It's a little volcano in all of them.
Yeah, he's a bit of a mixture, Martin O'Neill, very composed when he talks to the press, but very, very volatile and animated on the touchline.
Neat little ball played inside, good play again. And Kokar's final ball, as I've pointed out, almost amateurish, but an experienced player, and I think Sacre Bleu or something like that he was saying.
It was a good play again, good ball from Gus McPherson, and Kokar got into the return ball and a good opportunity to put a killing cross into the penalty box, and he wasted it.
1 minute of added on time. Yes, I think Innes has better be careful as well. I mean, I think they do appreciate the danger of this man, but a bit of mountaineering going on. Played to Lennon. Marshall after it and took it well. Really under pressure there. The big men were into him. Dargo chases after this. Look who's back there. And Lennon, who initiated the move and the cross into the penalty area for Sutton to chase, was back down the field immediately.
Yeah, well, that's what they do when they have a set piece, and it was a short free kick that started it there. They send the big players forward. Neil Lennon becomes the last man, and a very good awareness of you know, decision making in that type of position, and quite close there. Dargo made a great attempt to try and get a foot to it, but he was quite precise, Neil Lennon, and it went back to Jonathan Gould.
That's McPherson. Now Kokar. So they have them hemmed in. Baleful attempt at a 1-2 that time. Ball played away downfield again. Dargo goes in there. Kokar trying to go into the back. Well, I think that loud roar there was Craney, seemed to be taken very late. Well, the Kilmarnock defence was said they're going to be very careful. On the other hand, they've competed physically with Celtic, which they really had to do given the strength and intimidating presence of Sutton.
Very much so. That's something that you have to handle, and they have done that very well for the period of the first half.
Rabchik trying for a little 1-2, don't get away with it. Dandelou tries to go through there. Well, they've been getting as many players as they can to the edge of the penalty area, including Colin Healy there. Little toe ender.
Yeah, he couldn't just quite get his foot round the ball there. I think the Kilmarnock players are appealing for a handball. It was a very tight situation, plenty of bodies on the edge of the penalty box there. I think it was the right thing to try and hit it first time, but unfortunately he's not quite got the right connection on it.
The first half comes to an end. There's no scoring in this game yet. A cup tie that's been blighted by injury. Bobby Petta first off, which was a crucial moment in the game, and then of course Ian Durrant. Not many efforts at goal, not a game of great fluency, but nevertheless in the second half, given that they've had a good long hard look at each other, it'd still be interesting.
Very much so. I think obviously losing players of the capability of Durrant and Petta is a big miss for us, but I think in the second half we can see some goals. And
half-time score, as you can see there, nothing each.
Goalless at half-time, plenty of football still to be played in the CIS Insurance Cup final. The thoughts of Mark Hateley and Andy Walker on that first half action right after this short break.
Skelly's Motherwell, under the personal direction of Ian Skelly.
Life was a disaster. Nobody could move. People were like baboons. But then Martina came.
I started playing tennis right in the middle of the place. The cars started moving. It was unbelievable.
She was wearing these.
Making the traffic go one way or the other.
If we can control our body, we can control our mind. Everybody's calm.
Everywhere is school now.
I would like to call him Martina, but he's a boy.
Nice leg, you know what I mean?
The Italian from Pizza Hut. We use sun-ripened tomatoes to make our special sauce. And now we've got delicious new toppings. Try Mediterranean chicken with mozzarella, mixed peppers and onions. Or salami supremo with mozzarella, tricolour peppers and red onions. Pizza Hut. Great pizzas, great times.
Hi, kids.
New dress, £150. Ridiculously uncomfortable shoes, £70. French perfume, £49. Not being mum, at least for one night.
Wow.
Priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted for everything, even home improvement.
Introducing 3Ds from Doritos. A radical shape with a lighter crunch that begs to be eaten in very loud ways.
Ay, Chihuahua.
Doritos 3Ds, another dimension in snacking.
The closest shave is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Mac 3, easy loading, easy rinsing, and 3 blades that shave closer in one easy stroke. Mac 3 from Gillette. Now, the closest shave guaranteed or your money back.
Mobile phone, Jen. Get one like mine. Perfect.
Get that, Jen. You want to get one like mine.
How do you find the mobile that's right for you? Just head for the link. We believe in treating all our customers as individuals. We've a huge range of phones, tariffs and money-saving deals. And together we'll help you choose the one for you. It's your easy link to the right mobile phone.
At the link, it's easy.
Everyone respects me. When I talk, people listen. I've been in and out of prison most of my life. I've seen things that would make grown men weep. I've seen people on their knees begging for forgiveness. I've married countless women, and I've been responsible for even more funerals. I like a drink now and then, something a bit special. But in my line of work, it's understandable.
The new Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind.
Skelly's Motherwell, under the personal direction of Ian Skelly.
Welcome back to Hampden Park. It's goalless at half-time between Kilmarnock and Celtic. Andy Walker and Mark Haitley watching that first 45 minutes with me. Andy, what did you make of it? Did you think perhaps Kilmarnock had the best of that?
Absolutely. It's not often Celtic are out fought, especially in the opening half hour of any game. But I think Kilmarnock have won that battle, and you know, they really pressed Celtic very high up the pitch, and I think they've had all the better chances.
Kilmarnock did have a great start to the game, Mark.
Yeah, they set the tempo of the game. As Andy just said, they pushed high up the pitch, kept a high line in defence, and I think they've been the better of the sides. And I think Bobby Williamson was in there a happy man.
And after 15 minutes, Andy, they almost stole one, the quick free kick through to Coquard.
Yeah, they did. I think the delivery from the free kick was a good one, because I think they have to, you know, you have to fire in a ball. Celtic have got defenders that are just so strong, and I think with Dargo and Coquard, you need a good delivery so that they can get a chance to get across their marker and at a good height for them.
I know he didn't score, but he looked onside from our pictures.
It was, for me, it was a spot in line, but you know, the linesman's there, he sees it and how he calls it, and you know, unfortunately, He was good, but called offside.
Yeah. Young Stephen Craney had to come on for Bobby Petta, and a nice move involving him and Larsson, which led to Moravcik having a chance, Andy. Yeah, it's a big occasion for Stephen Craney to come on and play, and the gamble with Bobby Petta didn't work. But he's shown up well, he's been clever in his passing, and the shot here from Moravcik was, I thought, well handled by Gordon Marshall. I think the keeper didn't really have much to do in the end, Mark, but a nice move.
Yeah, he's not had a lot to do, but what he's done well. He's come for all the crosses. He's taken the majority comfortably. Had a little faux pas with one of them, which he dropped in Amelia players. But apart from that, he's been untroubled. You know. People always talk about the Sutton Larsson partnership. Sutton sets Larsson up here, but it's called offside.
Yeah, it is. Celtic were just coming into the game at this point, and the touch from Sutton's a very good one. Larsson through and goal, and I tell you what, that was very tight. Very, very tight indeed. I think when we see it again, Mark, what do you make of it?
I think that's two bad decisions, the Cocard and this one. I think he's level, the same, but fortunately for Kilmarnock, the linesman called it.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair to Larsson, he'd given up by the time he was going to take the shot.
It wasn't a full-blown effort from him, but I think he was definitely onside there.
Fantastic chance for Moravcik late in the half, which he created for himself, Andy.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of genius, and he can do this. I think Celtic have to get him on the ball more often. You see here, he could play the pass outside, but he's jinked inside, and he's quite comfortable with his left foot to fire it across, and that could easily have gone in off a defender as much as one of the Celtic forwards.
And Mark, Kilmarnock seemed to grow in confidence as the half went on, and a chance for them at the end again, Cocard.
Yeah, that man has been lively. I think Dargo and him have been very, very lively up front. You know, they're chasing everything down, but this little chance came here, and we actually thought, you know, that that could have been a penalty. You know, if it had gone down, it was a close call.
And what a tackle by Young Hay.
Yeah.
Beautiful tackle. I mean, he's timed that to perfection, and that'll give him a great deal of confidence. All the Celtic fans claiming for a penalty, but beautifully timed challenge.
Yeah. OK, we have to take a quick break at this part of the show, but we'll be back with the second 45 minutes live.
Skelly's Motherwell, under the pastoral direction of Ian Skelly.
Fly EasyJet Direct, Edinburgh to Amsterdam from only £27.50. Book now, easyjet.com.
The new Intel Pentium 4 processor, the center of your digital world.
If you could bank a priceless moment, what would it be?
Swimming with dolphins. When my partner and I first laid eyes on each other.
My favorite white cat, Jasmine, went missing for 2 weeks.
But when she came back through the cat flap, joy.
Lloyds TSB know that little things can mean a lot. And we have a lot of little improvements planned for this year. Lloyds TSB Scotland. Your life, your bank.
Find the job you're looking for at s1jobs.com.
Morning. Thought you were my mum. Come in. She's coming around in a minute. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You know Gary, don't you, Mum? You met at my birthday bash last year.
Your mum?
Yeah.
I could have sworn she was your sister.
That's hilarious.
Smirnoff Ice, as clear as your conscience. Skelly's Motherwell, under the personal direction of Ian Skelly.
Welcome back to the CIS Insurance Cup final at Hampden. It's goalless at half-time. I can tell you it was also goalless at Dens today. Dundee 0, Hearts 0 in the Bank of Scotland SPL. The team's just coming back out. Andy, they're missing Durant. He had a great first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent, and he gave them that passing ability, retaining possession, especially in Celtic's half. And I think it's there to be won, and I think that's a blow to Kilmarnock, because I thought he had an excellent influence in the first half hour.
But to be fair, Mark, we thought beforehand it was slightly unfair in Mark Riley that he wasn't starting, so he's in there now, he can do something.
Yeah, he's in there. He's got another 45 minutes, you know, to prove that he should have been in there from the beginning. But I think the way Ian Durant played first half, they'll miss him.
Yeah. Kilmarnock are already out. There are the Celtic players returning to the field of play. It's goalless, all to play for. The match will be decided this afternoon, remember, even if it comes down to extra time and penalties. Let's now rejoin our match commentators, Billy Stark and, first of all, Archie McPherson.
Thank you again, Jim. Well, I wonder, Billy, if you're thinking about extra time. I just get the impression that Kilmarnock have done extremely well, but you wonder if they've done the very best that they can do. Because they move the ball around well, but they seem to have nothing up front of a cutting edge.
Yeah, they'll be pleased. I mean, they had as much in the first half as Celtic, and that's given them a platform to maybe go and do something, but they do need to try and penetrate a wee bit more.
And off they start, second half, having, I'm quite sure, delighted the very big Kilmarnock support away to our left-hand side. Took a little while to sell all the tickets, but sometimes wonder where all these folk go every Saturday down in Ayrshire when Kilmarnock are playing at home. We've got about 12 to 14,000 in there today. Celtic, no question at all about it that they've been affected by the Petta injury earlier on, and lacking that kind of width that Agat, Petta and Thompson gave them. They're having to accommodate that. On the other hand, Kilmarnock have lost Ian Durant, and Durant was playing very tidily in midfield. Durant with that ability, very much like Lennon, more a forward-going player than Lennon, but very much like Lennon, reading positions very well. Larsson almost getting it through. Dargo, that's a better ball put forward. Well, that was anticipated by Mjolby. Although Riley's pass wasn't the best. Just a slight hesitation there. Well, remember, Celtic have already taken 9 goals of Kilmarnock. I wonder if Bobby Williamson has said, for heaven's sake, have a pop at goal in the second half.
Well, there's early evidence of that. Alan Mahood it was there, maybe in a good situation and maybe not quite the right time to go and have a shot, but at least it gets Kilmarnock back into the game.
Running round the outside there is Moravcik. Look at the back up there by firstly Lambert, then Lennon, Sutton. Well, that's a great ball forward. That's a save. It really is an excellent closing down of a player at that angle, and Colin Healy almost made the breakthrough.
Well, we had the offside decision in the first half, which was very close. That one was too. I think maybe just in line, so maybe the linesman just got it right there. But again, Gordon Marshall coming to Kilmarnock's rescue. He's a big imposing figure, and he got his body in front of the ball there.
Well, he had that one little fumble. Apart from that, he's been quite excellent. They're all in there, it's in. Larsson's done it. The deadlock has been broken inevitably. The man scoring his 45th goal of the season. And Hamden erupts in green and white as the Swedish international in a congested goalmouth finds a space to put it away.
Well, once again, for Celtic, it has happened so often this season. They've got the breakthrough from a set piece. It was a short corner. Moravcik put in a good ball. The big bodies can pile in. And as usual, Henrik Larsson right on his toes there. Still a bit to do. Gets his body turned and puts it into the bottom corner, giving Gordon Marshall no chance.
I think Gordon Marshall might have expected it to go just a little bit higher, but you know, he's got this tremendous ability to make himself invisible to opponents, even though they knew exactly his potential. That'll be a free kick to Kilmarnock. And now the familiar Celtic anthem about Henrik Larsson ringing round Hampden Park.
There may be a slight downside to that goal for Celtic. I saw Chris Sutton, who was involved in the challenge, as the ball hit the net and they were starting to celebrate. He was holding his shoulder. He's obviously took a bang on it, and we need to wait and see whether he can continue.
Swinging that in and lashing out at it. Crossing that far side, Gus McPherson. He really had to go for it. He's certainly one of the greatest finishers we've seen in Scottish football, Henrik Larsson, in a modern age where there is so much congestion in penalty areas and in defences. Great play by Larsson again, well anticipated by Healy. Let's get that back. Celtic playing with confidence now. Offside. And I think Lambert realised the flag was up.
We were talking about Henrik Larsson, obviously. He's having an almost unique season. I think everything he touches turns to gold. You know, he's got every type of finish in his armoury, and not least from set pieces. It wasn't directly to him there, but as I say, he was very alive to the situation, and he was on to it in a flash, and from that moment on it was inevitable that the ball was going to finish in the back of the net.
Really driving forward, still in there. Yes, he's waving the Celtic players to get up. Here's Kokar. And Celtic really at the moment are brushing Kilmarnock aside. Here they are on the recovery row, the counter-attack, and that will be a free kick. Not only brushing them aside, pounding them into the earth.
Well, Christoph Kokar was just getting to his feet when Alan Mahood gave him the pass there, and he had a quick look and he saw Johan Mjällby coming. He knew he was in a bad situation. He just waited and took the tackle, but I don't think he was expecting to get quite as sore a knock as he's got.
And Kokar, I think, is indicating he's had enough.
Yeah, I think the physio indicating that he's going to have to come off.
And there he is. Really painful. He's run about well. As I said earlier, his finishing, his final ball hasn't been all that great, but I wonder if he feels he might just carry on. No, it doesn't look like it, and Andy McLaren will come on. I think some eyebrows were raised that McLaren was on the bench.
Yeah, well, mine did actually. I think Kokar's got a great pedigree. I mean, I think he's been capped with France. I just wonder if he's suffered a wee bit from lack of match fitness. He was on the ball enough, but you know, wasn't able quite to make that final pass at the right time. But I think McLaren can do a great job for Kilmarnock.
Swept away to that far side, in it goes, and nobody from Kilmarnock following up on that. There's Dindaloo. Vega. Dargo. And there's always a Celtic player in there to supplement the defence. Outside of play.
I think the difference McLaren can make is Card certainly has the ability to go by players, but he's at the stage now in his career where it's difficult for him to get away, but I think McLaren's certainly capable of doing that.
There's the man of the match competition. Billy will be selecting the man of the match. 09009 115500, and remember you can contact us on the website sportsport.co.uk. There's free kick going right over the top there by Vega. He's complaining to the referee, but see what I meant? Talk about carrying a burden. He's a big fella. Full distance out here. McGowan going forward. Back goes the Celtic line. McGowan to take this. Well, he was going for goal. I think he was looking away across towards Ennis on the left-hand side. Tried to take the Celtic defence on and then curled it in.
I think it was going to take something a bit special to score from that distance. Past Jonathan Gould. And I think maybe just lacked a wee bit of conviction there, Kevin McGowan.
Sutton complaining again to the referee about that decision. A moaning going on in that pitch. That's a poor ball by Mahood. When he had players lying wide to the right, completely uncovered.
I think Kilmarnock will be disappointed with the personnel that Celtic are missing. They've been able to push up and get the right distance from their own goal and not worry too much about offside. It's only Larsson that they need to worry about. They've lost the pace in the flanks, and Petrov surging forward from the middle of the pitch. Once again, it's been a set piece, and I'm sure Bobby Williamson will have impressed on them before the game how important it was not to lose anything from a set piece, because now they have to chase the game a wee bit.
Well, I think all teams realise how vulnerable they can be with that ball high in the air by Celtic. And again, has been proved. Free kick. A little bit of swerve in that. Celtic pressing down on Kilmarnock at the moment, and Valheeren couldn't get that ball up. Well, that surely tackle from the back. There's a free kick and a booking. Mark Hewitt's a crucial one, because Dargo had made the break. He had a player to his right-hand side. Adani, he carried on, but it was certainly a foul.
Yeah, it was a correct decision. Paul Lambert, I think, sensed the danger there. I thought Craig Dargo just hesitated a wee bit to play Andy McLaren in, and in doing that it proved fatal. But a free kick in a reasonably dangerous area where it could have been so much better for Kilmarnock.
Well, just a little set too between McGowan and McLaren there. I'm quite annoyed at the way McLaren ran after the ball. Looks to me as if McLaren is going for it. Tries to put it through, and at least it made Jonathan Gould stretch out.
Yeah, it's a decent effort from Andy McLaren. He's got a bit of swing on the ball. Jonathan Gould's had to move quickly across his goal just to ensure that it goes by that far post, but you know, it's a good effort, and I think Andy McLaren's a type that wants to take responsibility. He's got the chance to come on in a cup final, and I can remember him playing well for Dundee United against Rangers way back in the early 90s, and they got a cup winners medal that day. So
well, Healy has really played well for Celtic. I mentioned him halfway through that first half, and he has sustained that form, boring his way into that defence, causing them all kinds of upsets and getting free kicks. In other words, he's fulfilled the function asked of him.
Very much so. I mean, I think it speaks volumes from him that he's been able to come in and perform the way he has.
Also tempting one, and Vega got to it. Well, there's a claim that the ball had been taken over the line, but they're not going to get away with it. Let's see what this reveals.
And once again, Vega getting right in there, and that was definitely dropping in and goal. Gordon Marshall, I think, first of all, thought he was going to have to tip it over, but once again, his decision-making was correct, and he was able to catch it. And although his feet went behind the line, he kept the ball in front of the line.
And free kick to Celtic. Yes, everything is going okay so far. Touched by Dindaloo. Well, nothing going right for Kilmarnock at the moment. Little marshy part of Hampden Park down there. Let in. I think it must have been a deflection.
I have to say, I think it can be demoralising, you know, at any time losing a goal in a cup final, but I think Kilmarnock have kept their concentration quite well. They've made forays up into the Celtic half, and you know, they're not going to lie down and die here.
I think Lambert penalised for that. The boot up high, free kick. Well, still going at it. It's not exactly a secret weapon I'm talking about, but Alan McCoist is on the bench. And that's really what they're lacking, Kilmarnock. Player in that penalty box with threat and menace. Dargo. Gus McPherson taking off after it. Ball still in play. Vega getting it away. Holt took his eye off it. Now that was two players going after the ball, and it's a red card. Sutton gets the red card. I'd like to see this replay again. Off he goes. He's a big physical player, there's no doubt about it. He lays himself around, and the near side challenge there gets him the red card.
Yeah, he knew Gary Holt was always favourite there, Chris Sutton, and he's just waited and put his leg in just a wee bit late. Maybe a wee bit harsh, especially in a cup final, but Hugh Dallas was well positioned and he's made the decision, and it really opens the game up now for Kilmarnock, and Celtic down to 10 men.
Well, I said Hugh Dallas is a courageous referee. I mean, he doesn't mess about. Some people say he's also a confrontational referee. Likes to prove that he's the boss. Anyway, Celtic down to 10 men. That'll be a free kick. Very obvious one. And you wonder how Celtic are going to adjust to that, whether they'll sit back, well, not sit back, Billy, but try to take on Kilmarnock much more in the counter-attack.
Well, they do have a lead to defend, and you know, they're down to 10 men, but they have enough quality on the pitch still to hurt Kilmarnock, and the pace of Henrik Larsson will obviously be very important in that scenario. And I'm just wondering if the sending off there with Sutton was maybe a wee bit of a knock-on from one or two earlier jousts, and Hugh Dallas has maybe seen those type of things happening, and he's made the decision on that basis.
Well, there goes McLaren. Celtic still leading by 1-0. Dundaloo gets it away. Offside against Healy. Really have been impressed by Healy. He's been brought on to the cup final stage, and he really has relished this challenge. I mean, he's an aggressive player, and that's exactly what you need when you're playing wide.
Very much so, and I think, you know, it was hard enough for those two wide midfield players for Celtic, Healy and Craney, with 11 men now down to 10. As I say, they've not much match practice, and they're going to have to really put in a shift from now to the end of the game.
Here's Dundaloo. Dargo brought that down very well. That's what Celtic are very, very good at. Now, Dundaloo's been booked. And that, it seems to be in the halfway line, is an incredibly naive tackle to make. when there's absolutely no danger.
Yeah, really stupid because, you know, he's had one or two fouls after he's booking down the low. Good Dallas has chosen to ignore them, but I don't think he can choose to ignore them for too much longer if he keeps making challenges like that.
Oh, I think if he does it again, I'll bet you, Billy, odds on Dindaloo will have an early bath as well.
Well, especially when Celtic have had a man sent off, sometimes you tend to see that referees will look to even it up.
Dindaloo. He'll try that longish ball again, trying to find Andy McLaren. Lennon can't get it away, he does second time. Well, 10 men though they may be, Celtic are starting to mop up again in midfield. Most notably Lennon. Valferin pounding forward. Moravcik. Freeney gives support to Moravcik. Notice the two Kilmarnock players going across there, and Moravcik try to sweep that across. And Moravcik can do that very well, even in a tight position. Just a little bit overhit that time.
Yeah, and I think in this current situation, they're going to look for Lubomir Moravcik just to work a wee bit harder than normal. Normally he's a free player and can, you know, stay up the pitch a wee bit and look to get on the ball. But, you know, they've left Larsson up there, and Moravcik's going to have to drop deep and help that midfield pair of Lambert and Lennon.
Yobi should mop that up easily enough. Ball still in play. Was pushed out rather aimlessly there. Yobi going up in the air with conviction again. Down. All Celtic players back in the Celtic half. Up towards McLaren. Vega's there first. McLaren trying to go in there. Well, Celtic are defending well in midfield, actually.
They are. I mean, when that type of thing happens and you get a sending off, you're obviously looking for adjustment.
Well, Dargo got in behind Vega that time, but there was nobody up with him.
No, I'm talking about looking for adjustment, not only from the team that's down to 10 men. You're looking to see if Kilmarnock have changed it in any way. Not at the moment. I mean, they possibly could look to commit another player forward, especially when chasing a one-goal lead. And also they have McCoy still on the bench to come on and give them another front threat.
There it goes. Mahood is in there. Lennon getting Celtic out of that tight situation very well. Well, that's a brilliant ball there by Larsson. Couldn't get it back properly. Lambert coming up to give support. That immaculate touch again by Henrik Larsson. Switching the play immediately, and Celtic got the corner kick. Well, quite apart from the way they've got to organise themselves in a situation like this, I think spirit and character, determination, these qualities come into play.
Very much so, but this is one situation where, you know, it doesn't matter whether they're down to 10 men, they're a real threat at corner kicks, and they'll put bodies in there.
To Moravcik again. Offside. Two players offside there. Out came the Kilmarnock defence. In it goes. And no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kilmarnock do that as well as anybody. I've seen once the ball's played back, they shift up and leave players in there. I don't think there's any doubt that it was an offside position.
There's Mahood. That must be disappointing for the manager to see his side playing against 10 men and they give 20-yard passes away like that. Vindaloo. It's better play by Kilmarnock. It's his final ball that really counts for them, though. Some of the work in midfield has been neat and intricate. All Celtic players in that half again. The flick that didn't quite come off. Celtic are covering well. Well, I really do think it's the reputation of Larsson that scares people in a situation like that. Innes did have time, but Larsson was close to him.
Yeah, he did the first part of his job very well. Young Chris Innes got across to make the covering block, and he maybe just worried a wee bit about Larsson's ability to put a foot in and get the ball off the defender and give him a clear run in and go.
It'll be given to Craney again. It's a decent ball played in. Lambert can't quite get it away. Well, Lambert has hurt himself in that challenge. I think he dug his studs into the ground. Seems to have taken a knock on his ankle. That's the last thing that Celtic would need at this stage. Tremendous work rate. That, I mean, if you take the sending off as a benchmark there, then you can see they've increased their work rate in midfield significantly, Celtic. Players like Lambert.
Absolutely, and we saw it in a situation in the wide area there where young Hay had the ball, and he looked to maybe go and try and take a man on, but all of a sudden he had a couple of Celtic players to beat, and he was left just to try and play an early ball, which was blocked, and it was out for the throw-in. So they're working very hard to get bodies round the ball and not give Kilmarnock time to establish a bit of control in the game.
20 minutes left. Lambert will come back on again. He's taken that statutory leave of absence. Dargo, seen hardly anything of him. Look at the way that Celtic are cutting off the ball in midfield, as we've pointed out. Kilmarnock failing to make any penetration. There again. Says a lot for a side reduced to 10 men, but they're keeping the ball mostly and being given little presence to this man of all man. Free kick. Now the Celtic supporters are trying to point out to Hugh Dallas, as if he needs to know, that this man has already been booked. And he goes there. Well, if it's a free kick and it's a tackle from the rear, it's surely a yellow card.
I would think so. He's very, very fortunate indeed. Hugh Dallas indicating that he went for the ball, but if you mistime it and you bring a player down, having already been booked and had some other fouls, I think he can consider himself very fortunate not to be in the dressing room.
Free kick well within the scoring range of the talented either Moravchik or Henrik Larsson, or indeed the youngster Craney. Craney going for it against the wall. Now's the break by Kilmarnock. Here's the pace of Mjolby coming into play. Getting back very quickly. Once again, a decision going to Kilmarnock. Vindaloo wildly in again. Goal kick, I think. Well, there has been, thankfully, a very competitive edge to this game right from the start, and that's been good. As the sun comes out on what is a very deceptive afternoon, because whilst it might look very pleasant, it is indeed very cold. And Vindaloo is being taken off now.
Yeah, the Celtic supporters not happy there. That's just kind of highlighted the scenario we had there where he maybe should have been sent off. Bobby Williamson's recognised that and he's taken him off, and that means that we won't see Ali McCoist, because I think that's Kilmarnock used the free sub.
Well, 38-year-old Ali's had his triumphs in the past. 10 cup finals, 9 winners' medals. I just get the impression Bobby has read that rather well, that if there had been the slightest sneeze by Dindaloo out of place, he would have been off. A bit of hesitation there. Referee Webbing, play on. 3 players going for it, a little bit of congestion again. Here's Moravcik. Henrik Larsson was screaming for it, but he let fly. He does, he's done it again! Quite amazing the way he took that. And with great elegance and precision, just flighted that above everybody else. Into the back of the net. Look at the way he did that. Oh, it's a deflection. He gets the aid of a deflection. That's a ball played to him. He's left on his own. Scooped it up, and unfortunately for Chris Innes, off his foot into the back of the net. And neither Celtic nor the supporters will be worried about the in-off.
No, I mean, it was a fantastic ball from Moravcik, really asking questions of the Kilmarnock defence, but, you know, we've praised Henrik Larsson all season, and quite rightly so. He's been absolutely magnificent, and I think that just shows you that it is his season, because he didn't get quite the right connection on that. It actually came off his heel, I think, and it was only the deflection that beat Gordon Marshall in the Kilmarnock goal there. But when you get a break like that, you've got to take it.
Rennie going across there. Just shuffles the ball away. Well, even after being down to 10 men, Kilmarnock against the 10 men never really showed any great menace near goal. Now they're 2-0 down. And quite frankly, I think it'll take something of a miracle to lift them up in this game now. Picking it up in midfield. Vega tries to go in. That's a better ball forward, and it's a free kick, in fact. Vega fouled. Man of the match competition. Billy will be announcing that very shortly. 09009 115500. And remember the website. There's a chat on the website at scottsport.co.uk. Celtic leading by 2-0. And the Sunshiners come out at the right time in appropriate tandem with that song about Henrik Larsson. Really did well to get that through. Here's Lambert. You tried for the 1-2, it almost came off. Oh, they're mopping up everything in midfield again. It's a hoovering up operation out there.
They've proved this season that when they get in front, Celtic, they're very difficult to peg back. They're so solid in that middle area of the pitch, both their back three and Lennon and Lambert in front of them. And I think Kilmarnock are going to have to commit a body or two further forward. They're 2-0 down. It's the only way to get back into the game, I think.
I think you were right in saying that they did keep to the game plan and stuck to Kilmarnock, but I think now you can see tangibly that there's a demoralising tide going through the team now. You know, they just seem the legs out there, some of the legs seem to be like jelly.
Yeah, particularly the nature of the second goal where it's off a deflection. I think maybe you start to think that it's not going to be your day.
Vega rising to that splendidly. Gus McPherson was apologising to the referee, if you could call it that. And the veteran of the side going up very high there. I think he tried to hold himself back eventually.
Yeah, the ball was there to be won. It was dangerous play by McPherson, there's no doubt about it. But to be fair to him, he did try to pull out at the end there.
There he was again, up for everything. Certainly any doubts about the effectiveness of Colin Healy dispelled very early in the game, and he's continued that. Dago really lacking a little bit of support. He had the pace, but nobody powerful beside him. Canito. Very obvious ball played forward there by McGowan. Lambert charging through.
That's the one thing he can't do there, Kevin McGowan. He's got 7 or 8 colleagues in front of the ball there, and he tries to thread the wee ball through the middle area, which Celtic just gobble up, and all of a sudden they're counter-attacking.
Got the impression Kilmarnock are going through the motions now, almost like a defeated team, a team acknowledging their defeat. Gus McPherson getting into the box. Well, I don't think this massive Celtic support were in any doubt that even with a depleted side or a partially depleted side, that their team would show a great deal of spirit and concentration in this match, and that's exactly what they've shown. For all that Kilmarnock have had a lot of possession going into that last third, do you think they ever really scared that Celtic defence?
Well, we suspected before the game that that would be their problem.
Larsson goes away again. This could be the hat-trick coming up. It is. He did that beautifully eventually. All the length of the field. He didn't panic. As many a player would have stumbled or lost his conviction, leaving McGowan for dead, and then watch this little deception there before tucking it away.
Well, if there's an element of luck about his second goal, there's certainly no element of luck there. He's run half the length of the pitch, an absolutely magnificent composure when he gets in there. Gordon Marshall has come out just at the right time to try and narrow the angle and force him into shooting. He just rolled his foot over the top of the ball, took it to his left and rolled it into the empty net. A fitting goal for a cup final.
Well, you know, we're talking about a player who already must rank with the Celtic greats, including Kenny Dalglish, who used to score goals like that, as you probably know. And there he is, demonstrating the full power of his art in that long run and that magnificent finish.
I think Kilmarnock will be wondering just why they're in the position they're in, 3-0 down. It's not a true reflection on the game, particularly when you consider that they have the extra man. To be fair, they really didn't make use of that for the spell when they were still in the game at 1-0. But we did say that Larsson would be the one on the counter-attack, and that goal there that I think just won Celtic the cup, as I say, was very fitting to Grace Hampden.
The other point, of course, about that goal is, remember, he was up against a big, powerful defender there, and he's powerful himself.
Yeah, I think
that's overlooked. I mean, I'm told that in training he's an immensely strong body.
Yeah, I mean, he's wiry and great upper body strength. He can hold people off and, in fact, take the challenge to put them out of the game, and that's what he did there. McGowan had to make a last-ditch challenge. He didn't quite have the strength, and Larsson was off and running.
Bradchik comes off, and on comes the young player Jimmy Smith. And you might recall Jimmy Smith earlier on in the season in Scotsport when we had coverage of that game against Hearts. They come on and scored in that game. Scored a real cracker, in fact.
Remarkable to think that Moravcik's first medal in senior football was won last year in this very tournament, and now he's got himself a second, and who knows, there may be another couple to come.
Might even buy himself a medal cabinet. Here's Lambert. O'Ferran. I suppose this will be remembered as Larsson's final. Maybe a little bit unfair to the other players out there who put in a great shift for the side, but that's how football is recollected. These little gems, the little nuggets, the personalities who eventually dominate a game, and that's exactly what he's done today. Okay, his second goal, it looked at first as if it was a brilliantly conceived gen. It was a deflection, but as if to prove that he could do it under pressure, he put on another little tutorial.
Well, it's not something we see often in cup finals, as a player scoring a hat-trick, but really we shouldn't be surprised that Henrik Larsson's come up with that today.
Ball just out of play. We're coming into the last 5 minutes of this game. No special medal for Larsson. No particular bonus, at least I don't think so, Billy, unless there's a special prize in there for a hat-trick in the final. They all deserve the bonus money today for Celtic. Down to 10 men, and really, it's never looked like 10, has it?
Not at all. I mean, in fact, you know, obviously getting the second goal was a big factor, but they've actually been in control of the game since then, and you do feel for Kilmarnock a bit. They've put a lot into the game, and it's really just the supreme finish of Larsson that has got the 3-goal deficit.
Not exactly with contempt, but with apparent ease. Celtic have snuffed out anything that Kilmarnock have produced, particularly driving towards the Celtic goal. And the Celtic supporters are now in the process of celebration. I think much of the play on the field is now being largely ignored. Looked like a free kick, no. There's Vega. I did say at the start of the last 5 games that Kilmarnock have played in, they failed to score a goal, and it's been a characteristic of the play. No punch near goal. Here's the youngster, Smith. We go towards the conclusion of this game, and you know, I remember Jock Stein winning his first medal for Celtic. It was a Scottish Cup game, and then in the season when he really triumphed, it was here at Hampden Park in the League Cup against his great rivals. Well, I know there are Celtic supporters beginning to make comparisons between O'Neill and the era that he created, and Stein and the era he created, and Martin O'Neill. Long way to go yet, but nevertheless, the significance is that from last season, a disjointed and demoralised club has been lifted up. He's turned a corner shop into something like a supermarket, and with it comes the expectation of a new era starting, Billy.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the first leg of the treble.
That'll be a booking.
Sometimes you can understand the frustrations. He's late there, Gary Hay. You just hope that the Kilmarnock team don't lose their discipline. They really have performed well in this final. Just lacked the cutting edge that we suspected, but I certainly hope that they don't lose players through indiscipline at this late stage in the game now.
I mentioned the treble at the start of the commentary, and that's something that's been in the ken of the Celtic support and the management, although Martin O'Neill has tried to downplay this. Nevertheless, that's something that's really on now. There's no question at all about that. The league is theirs, and it's the Scottish Cup that they now have to think about. As Tommy Boyd in his testimonial year, the man has meant so much to the club in terms of sheer consistency and the highest level of defensive play. He comes on. That's a little ball put in the general direction of Andy McLaren. Canero might have played from the start today, Canero, of course. That was another of the possibilities in the selection. Just taken away there by Canero. Well, he's sharp, and certainly I think Kilmarnock could have done with that pace and aggression up front today, even from a wing back.
Yeah, he's been an impressive performer for them this season, Peter Canero. Bobby's decided to go with the experience of Gus McPherson in that wing back role.
Meanwhile, Larsson, as they go into this, is lucking on the halfway line, just waiting for the break to come. There he is. Larsson's final. That's what it'll be called. Well, that's what I'm calling it anyway. Corner kick. Dabbed in and easily pushed away. We go towards the final whistle now. Let me pick out my own particular hero in it, and it was, of course, the youngster, apart from the obvious one, of course, Henrik Larsson, Colin Healy. But your man in the match, Billy.
Well, I think there's been a few contenders. Gordon Marshall in the Kilmarnock goal. As you say, I was going to give it to Colin Healy until Larsson scored that third goal to get his hat-trick, and the real class of the man shone through there, so it has to be Henrik Larsson.
The final whistle goes, and Martin O'Neill has picked up his first trophy in Scotland. He's already done it south of the border with Leicester in the comparable trophy. Sporting handshake there is John Robertson, who scored, of course, so many goals alongside O'Neill for Nottingham Forest. Enjoys and savours that moment, but surely all lovers of this club will savour the individual performance of that man there, Henrik Larsson. He wasn't in the game as much as he's been in others, but I think we also emphasise the fact that Celtic, not just with Larsson, but with other players, are capable of turning a game in a few seconds as he did. And that long run of his and that delightful little Highland Scottish over the ball that deceived the goalkeeper and slipped it into the back of the net will long be remembered in this final. 3 goals to Henrik Larsson. The CIS League trophy to Celtic Football Club. For Kilmarnock, well, hardly any consolation. Remember, they were playing against 10 men for a considerable part. And let's now go to Martin O'Neill with Peter.
Martin, your first piece of silverware as manager of Celtic. Can you describe your emotions?
Well, it's fantastic. It's really fantastic. The players were absolutely magnificent from start to finish. It's been a long, long season for them. They've been leading the league for months and months and months. It was a difficult one today, but they were fantastic.
Have you run out of superlatives for Henrik Larsson?
Well, it's sensational, sensational, world-class footballer.
Talking about your selection, Colin Healy, Archie McPherson pointed him out. He had a magnificent game.
I'm glad you said that. I thought he was excellent. He really got at it. He hasn't played for a long, long time in the first team. That was a brilliant effort by him.
The sending off could have gone against you, Martin. What did you make of it?
Well, I couldn't say. I would have to see it again. I thought from where I stood it was harsh. That's mine, but I would have to see it again.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Peter.
I don't think Martin could sing any arias with that voice of his at the moment. But there we are, that's the Celtic support. We will be back to see the presentations very shortly.
Celtic.